Hi everybody, it's Gemma, welcome back to Pampered Wolf. This is a really sad video today. It's one that I wasn't actually going to make. I did put an Instagram story up on Friday when the news broke. I thought that was all I was going to have to do, but I know a lot of you aren't on Instagram. A lot of you didn't see that post, and believe me, I have had hundreds of messages over the course of the weekend, all asking me about this topic, asking me if I know about this, and asking me questions like, is the Korean Beauty Standards Agency corrupt? Should we no longer be buying Korean skincare? Can we trust Korean skincare? Can we trust Korean SPFs in the future? All asking me for my opinion on this subject. So here I am. I'm going to give it to you in this video. This is going to be my opinion and my opinion alone, and you should make your own opinion up after you've read all the facts. So let's get straight into this video. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload 2 to 3 videos a week here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram if you fancy checking me out over there. It's at Pampered Wolf. All lowercase, no spaces. If after this video you have enjoyed watching, if you've liked what you've seen, I would really appreciate it if you would give this video a like, you hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. So if you've no idea what I'm talking about and why everybody is all of a sudden talking about Korean beauty and Korean SPFs, well, it's all to do with this little fella. This is the Purito Centella Green Level Unscented Sun SPF 50. And just before the weekend, Incidecoder blogs reported that this actually only has an SPF value of 19 in here, not factor 50. Gutted. So how did they come up with this? Well, I will put all of their research in the description box so you can take a look at exactly what they did. But basically, they sent this off to 2 different European labs, did 3 different tests on this, and it came out that it did have an SPF of 19, not 50, that it actually advertises on the bottle. So there's been quite a lot of skepticism surrounding this sunscreen for quite some time because of the levels of filters that are actually within the formula. So the filters in this formula are Uvinol A at 3% and Uvinol T at 2%. And a lot of people were saying that at those levels, it was impossible for this to actually be a factor 50. Now, I wasn't skeptical at all. For me, I am not a chemist. It's not my area of expertise. I know very little about sunscreen ingredients, and as a consumer, I just assume, rightly or wrongly, that if this has been stamped with the Standards Agency seal of approval, I assume that this has jumped through the necessary hoops and it is what it says it is. So how did this happen? Well, we don't know. I'm not quite sure we are actually ever going to know. All I can say is that SPF testing is a really, really tricky subject to tackle, and mistakes can be made. You wouldn't expect the discrepancy to be this large from 50 all the way down to 19, but it does happen. I also need to mention that Incidecoder's lab results may also be slightly flawed. So this may not be an SPF of 19, it might be closer to 50 like Purito actually said in the first place. There are reasons behind that. I'm not going to go into it. Like I said, I am not a chemist. That is not my area of expertise. However, one of my favorite YouTubers, Michelle from Lab Muffin Beauty Science, has done a video all about this. She can explain this far better than I can, and she understands it far better than I do. So I will link her video in the description box. She is so super knowledgeable, and she actually says things in a way that I understand, and I don't understand chemistry. So she's doing a really good job. I will link her video if you want more information about testings of SPFs, how things can go wrong, and the process in general. She goes through that all absolutely superbly in her video. Again, I will link it in the description box for you. So let's just talk about Purito as a brand for a second. Now, Purito is one of my favorite Korean brands. I think their products are absolutely beautiful and I use many of them on my face on a daily basis. But there's lots of negativity and finger pointing going on at the moment with this brand. I guess for obvious reasons, but I think it's really, really important to point out that there is no evidence that Purito have actually done anything wrong in this situation. So many brands don't have in-house labs to do their testing. They rely on external labs, and it may be an external lab error that has brought us to this situation. It might not be anything to do with Purito at all. We're awaiting more information, and I think it's really important to say that I don't think we should jump to conclusions at this point. So in my opinion, Purito have acted really responsibly in this situation. As soon as they heard about Incidecoder's findings, they removed all of their sunscreens from the market, so you can't buy those anymore. And they're waiting to find out what their own lab results come up with before they make a decision on where they go in the future. Now, they had already, really interestingly, before these findings actually came to light, already sent off some of their samples to a different lab to get a second opinion on the level of their SPF within their products. Because of all the controversy surrounding the Purito Centella Green Level Unscented Sun SPF 50, they wanted to make sure that what they were selling was correct. So they're awaiting those test results back, and they have put out a statement which I'm going to put on the screen now. And I'm going to put it on there for quite a while so you can get through it while I'm talking about other things. So while you're reading through that, let me just answer some of the questions that I had this weekend. Is the Korean Standards Agency corrupt? Have Purito paid off the Korean Standards Agency to get this passed? And should we stop using all Korean sunscreens? Is the entire industry corrupt? Let me just say this, in my opinion, we shouldn't be jumping to conclusions. Korean skincare is some of the best skincare in the entire world. This is one product, one mistake. This doesn't brand an entire industry. This has happened before with some Western SPFs like Neutrogena, La Roche-Posay, and others. It's not the first time this has happened. It definitely won't be the last. This has got nothing to do with Korean skincare in general. It's just one product. And I think we need to make sure that we keep our eyes on that before we start pointing fingers at the entire industry. So should we be trusting Korean skincare in general? Should we be using Korean SPF on a daily basis? And should we throw out every single last drop of the Centella Green Level Sunscreen? Well, let me answer that from my personal perspective. I can't make up your mind. I can only give you my personal view on this. I think the only way to make up your mind is to read all of the documentation and all of the findings, and also watch Michelle's video, because she really does explain the SPF testing process in really good detail, so you can really see the flaws that you can hit. And that is for everybody, whether it's Korean sunscreen or whether it's Western sunscreen. So I will link all those for you in the description box so you can take a look at those. But on a personal level, I will definitely still be using Korean sunscreens. I will still be using Korean skincare on a daily basis. I think they're absolutely fantastic. They sit on the skin beautifully. And I really, really like them. Will I be using this one? Will I be throwing this out? I will definitely not be throwing this out. I'm going to use this up through the winter months when it's really, really overcast. There is still a possibility that it is more than an SPF of 19. In the meantime, until we get a positive view and lab results on that, I'm going to be using this cautiously, but I am going to still use this up. Definitely not going to throw it away. I still love this. Honestly, the news that this was only an SPF 19 completely ruined my weekend. I mean, I was being slightly melodramatic. At the end of the day, it's only a sunscreen. It's only a sunscreen. But I did think I'd found my holy grail SPF 50 sunscreen that didn't feel like an SPF 50 sunscreen on my skin. And if the claims are correct, and that is if the claims are correct, then I guess the search starts again. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I said, it wasn't a video that I really wanted to make, but I do know a lot of you aren't on Instagram, so wouldn't have seen the post that I put out on Friday when I was in a really bad mood. Anyway, it is what it is. I will wait for further results. So watch this space. Hope you've enjoyed this video and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.